Okay, we'll call our meeting to order and begin with the superintendent's report.
Well, thank you, Skip. Welcome, everyone that came tonight. It's great to see you all, and hello to everybody out there on the live stream. I just wanted to start out, and I'm very excited that Alyssa and Jessica are here. I wish Beth was here, but I'd like to give a big shout out to our community education department for an outstanding community tailgate. And with that being said, I know there was a lot of our other employees that worked very hard behind the scenes to get everything ready for Friday night. And I believe we had the largest community tailgate as far as tents. And then I think as far as people, just impressive. So thank you so much. It was great to get the whole community together. And it was a lot of fun. And it was also a lot of fun watching the band and watching our Bulldogs win. So it was it's always a great day to be a Bulldog, but Friday night it was an outstanding day to be a Bulldog. So thank you so much. Also, just real brief, I'd like to thank our dedicated VCS staff. The start of this school year couldn't be better. We're off to a great start, very positive, lots of good energy in the buildings, and it's all due to our incredible, dedicated, and professional staff behind the scenes. The students are having a great time. We know it is a honeymoon phase when we come back to school off the bat, but let's hope we'll keep it going for a while. So thank you, VCS staff. We couldn't do it without you. In other exciting news, I want to make sure the community is aware. We are launching our 5-year strategic planning process at the end of this month. We've been working hard behind the scenes on this for about 3 years now, and now's finally the time to launch it. Now that we're kind of out of the pandemic. And the most exciting part of the process is engaging all our stakeholders in the process as we develop our plan. So I just wanted to let everybody know you will be on the lookout for some emails that are going to contain some surveys. And these surveys were developed not by us, but by an outside agency that does this. And we're really excited about getting that input and using that data to develop our goals down the road. So stay tuned. We'll let you know when those are coming out. We're going to have about a 2 to 3 week window where we'll allow our families, staff, other community members, as well as our students 8th grade through 12th have the opportunity to have their voices heard with the survey. So, and then that data will be compiled by the group that developed the survey, and then they'll present that to us, and then Hewlings and Associates will run us through the process. So very exciting times, looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to engaging everyone in this room as well as everybody in our community. Real quick legislatively, it's real quick because there's really nothing going on. They pretty much canceled everything in September, both the House and the Senate. I did include the School Equity Caucus newsletter in your packet for some light reading. There's a little bit of information about the petition drive for the vouchers, and just some other things briefly about the current revenue status in the budget in the state of Michigan. And last but not least, we did include some important dates that are coming up. And we slowed down a little bit through September, but just a couple highlights. Homecoming is October 7th. That's always a wonderful day. We're going to do the parade as always, and then the game and all the festivities that go on with that. So make sure you put that on your website or on your calendar. And with that, that's my report.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, we'll go on to reports of public inquiry and budget and finance report. Steve?
Okay, included in the board packet is the budget progress report for the general fund for the month, or the 2 months ended August 31st. And I'll go through that fairly quickly and just make a few highlights. On the revenue side, you can see that total revenue year to date, $328,128. That is where we begin to receive the summer property tax levy. And so with property taxes due in 2 days, we would anticipate that number will then climb substantially for the month of September. There's, as we've talked about in the past, there's always a lag with the state revenue. We won't receive our first installment there until October 20th. And so that'll stay low between now and next month, and then we'll start to see that come in October. Same with federal and other revenue. We typically don't have a lot of activity this time of year with regard to those, but those will ramp up as we head through the fall. On the expenditure side, on a year-to-date basis, and again, this is just for 2 months, total instructional expenditures were at $241,408. Support services came in at $1,002,441, and then athletics are at $75,160. Community services at $65,933. So total expenditures year-to-date is at $1,384,942. Couple things just to point out. I've mentioned this before. I think I mention it pretty frequently, especially early in the year. There, you know, the numbers are kind of subject to some significant timing differences. If you look at, you know, you look through at some of these, you can see that, you know, for instance, business services is at $124,199 compared to $54,000 last year. So that's a big increase. But that's an example where, and it's not personnel related as much. It's more based on when some of the significant sort of beginning of the year expenditures are incurred. In this case, property and casualty insurance was recorded for the year in July. Last year, it was paid in June. It was sitting in a prepaid expense, and it didn't hit the 21-22 general ledger until a little bit later in the year. So those kinds of timing differences equalize out as we go through the year. All right. Second page of the report summarizes expenditures by object code, and you can see that on a year-to-date basis, salaries and benefits are at $731,430. Purchase services, supplies, capital outlay, and other round out the difference there. And so the total year-to-date again is $1,384,942. Any questions? All right, if not, then I'll move on. Included in the board packet is the schedule of investments, and that's just updated with you know, information on a monthly basis. The one thing that I want to point out here is that turns out that the liquidity was not lining up exactly the way we had anticipated. And so we're going to be repositioning the portfolio, and that's something that I will anticipate happening this week, all right? And so a couple things that are going to happen as a result of that. First of all, as interest rates go up, the market value on the securities goes down. So that will trigger a loss. To compensate for that, however, the proceeds will be reinvested, and the market rates are higher. So working closely with the financial advisor on that. After that is done, I'll be able to provide kind of a comprehensive analysis on it. But at this point, you know, based on information from the financial firm, it would be my expectation that any loss would be essentially completely made up for through higher interest. And so I'll be able to demonstrate that. But there should be essentially no impact. You know, there's no, at the end of the day, no loss of taxpayer dollars or anything else. If you go back a year from now when interest rates were essentially near zero, we weren't earning really any meaningful investment income. And now we have the ability to do that. And so, you know, I guess the good news is we should be in good shape and be able to offset any loss from the sale of the bonds. All right. And again, next month I'll be able to provide a little bit more detail on that.
Steve, this is really not about liquidity for what work has been completed this summer.
Correct.
So there's not the urgency. We have to do something yesterday because we have to pay some bills.
Correct.
This is anticipating for next summer's work.
That's exactly right. Yep. So we want to reposition it for next summer's work, and that's what we're going to do.
Good. Any other questions for Steve? Oh, we went too easy on it.
What's that?
We went too easy on it.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk, yeah, we'll talk more about that.
Steve, we talked about the capital projects that went on this summer. Anything you can pull out from that? I mean, it seemed like everything went well.
You know, yeah, I wish Nancy were here because she deserves a lot of credit. Really, things went really, really well this summer. As always, there continue to be kind of some open items, and that's always the case. We've got a little bit of that at Indian Lake. Most of the kinds of things that need to be done are not things that'll have any impact or will be noticeable, but we're just trying to button up some loose ends on that. Yeah, you know, considering how short the summer is, and getting shorter all the time, it seems, just, you know, based on the school calendar, and it's really hard to get that work done in that summer window. But we work really closely with our architects, our construction manager, and the contractors, but really, I can't say enough about Frederick Construction. As always, they really, particularly at Indian Lake, where things started to just kind of go a little more slowly than we would expect, they jumped on that. I mean, I want to say, even before July, I was starting to be copied on emails to basically put the contractor on notice that we got to move things along. And really, thanks to their help, we got there and we're in good shape. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know, when I walked through, I was amazed at the scope of work that's being done there.
Yeah,
And when he told me that they were gonna get it done by the time they expected was amazing. But I was just curious, any feedback from the performance of the HVAC system, or?
I'm sure Sarah's happy.
She's grinning ear to ear.
Yeah, no, we're thrilled with the updates. I mean, the HVAC is amazing, of course, the AC, but even just the lighting, the ceilings, the brightness of the space, it feels clean and new. The library is up and running, and it's lovely. So,
Yeah.
so happy.
Because one thing I was wondering, I didn't really understand that, I mean, you're gonna get such better air quality, because everything's gonna go through 91 rated, or HEPA rated filtration, as I understand. Plus, you still got ionization, so all in all, it's just gonna be a much better environment for staff and students.
It's, you know, the one thing that I'm always kind of amazed by, just the change with the LED lighting, and it's so much brighter.
It is.
And the heat
Very
load.
clean.
And the heat
And
load
it's,
is-
yeah, the buildings are just far more comfortable. And, yeah, so we're really pleased with how that went. It's a lot for everybody. It's hard on the staff. It's really hard on, you know, Nancy, who's keeping day-to-day tabs on that, but she's done a great job. And, yeah, we're just buttoning up a few things, but all in all, we're making great progress.
Kudos to everybody involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, two things. One is, I think from a health standpoint, just moving more air, I think is a wonderful thing, particularly in light of the last 2 years. But that's really important. And the second is, I remind you, the patient who told me about building the high school in 1950, how the kids moved the equipment from this building to that building, and they were walking over plumbers and electricians. So
Yeah, it's a
you
little
did better than they
different.
did in
It's a little
51.
different these days, you know?
Could you see if we did that today?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, a lot has changed,
Yeah.
but yeah, I always laugh at that story, so. All right, if there are no other questions, then that'll conclude my report.
All right, thanks, Steve. We're gonna have a little change. Gail, I'm gonna ask you to introduce our outdoor education annual report, because Mike Roy won't be here until after that.
Over here. So, Kelly Christensen doesn't really need an introduction, but she deserves one. So, how far we have come with our OEC program has been just incredible, and it's all because of Kelly Christensen. So I am super excited to have her explain to you the programming at our Outdoor Education Center. We started back in 1819. It was our first year with providing.
She's not that old.
1819.
2018-19. 2018-19. So sorry. 2018-19 was the first year that we started the programming with an OEC teacher with the goal to, one, deepen the learning and the experience for our students out at the OEC, but also to take the primary instructional responsibility off the plates of our teachers so that they could enjoy the experience with their students, but they didn't have to add that to their instructional responsibilities. And thankfully, Kelly Christensen applied for the position and got the position and has made the OEC what it is today. So thank you so much, Kelly. All right, I'm gonna get you going.
I've got a little presentation for you ready. Hopefully it all goes well. So Gail took my intro, so that's awesome. I'm going to hold this right in front of my face like I was asked. I'm super excited to share with you what we're doing out at the OEC. I really think it's a pretty cool program, and it's a unique program. Not a lot of schools have a center with woods and a creek and all of the things that we have. So, oh, I didn't grab the thing. Thank you. So what we do at the OEC Vicksburg Community Schools is providing students a chance to learn in a different environment. We have created standards-based science lessons for each grade level using some of the current Battle Creek science kit lessons and also some other outdoor-based curriculum. My goal is to keep students so engaged that they don't even know that they're learning. Teacher feedback has shown that students are learning the science standards taught out at the OEC, along with, we integrate math and reading, and, there's lots of other places where it's not just science. We have some unique learning opportunities out at the OEC, and I really try to take advantage of them. We are outdoors as much as possible. We use the woods. We use the stream. We sometimes complete some larger projects that would be hard for a classroom teacher to do in their classroom. An example of that would be that the third grade students in the spring, we talk about inclement weather. It's one of their science standards. And so they build a hurricane house, and then we test them with water and a leaf blower and see, can your house withstand inclement weather? So that'd be hard for a classroom teacher to do. But with my extra classroom, we can leave all the things there, and it's really impactful for students. Another opportunity we had last year was our fourth graders learned about native and invasive plants mainly, but also animals too, but native and invasive species. So in the fall we did some lessons, and in the spring then through a Bardeen grant through the Vicksburg Foundation, which I thank them for that, we were able to buy some native plants. So the students tore out the front gardens, they weeded them and they emptied them, and they did a really good job. I wasn't sure how it was going to go because they're, 9 and 10 years old. But it was so impactful. I was shocked at how they left with this big sense of, look what I did. They saw this big empty thing. And one of the groups in particular, I had kind of set aside, like, this is your group, this is this teacher's group. This group wanted to finish. They didn't want to plant that day. They needed to finish up the garden. So they weeded, and the next group just planted. And again, it's just getting the hands dirty literally and having some opportunities to do those things that, again, a regular classroom teacher isn't going to be able to fit into their day. And so it's a cool experience along with a lot of learning. And I have a video in a minute, but you'll see a lot of these things at work. We collect macroinvertebrates, which are the tiny little things that live in the water, which now swimming in the lake that I know about them. It's not my favorite anymore. You'll see BK students in safari hats because we went on safari and looked for signs of animal habitat and things like that. So many neat learning opportunities that Vicksburg is providing for their students. Just in case you wondered, our schedule is that classrooms visit in the fall and then again in the spring. We have a little break in the winter. You can see that the fall has certain grade levels, and then the spring has certain grade levels. So the upper L kids get to come twice a year. We benefit greatly from the technology that's out there. We are outside as much as possible, but it's great to have a classroom to go to when the weather's bad, or, just to kind of get us started with a quick video or a quick little demonstration, and then we can go outside and do the rest of our activities. Our focus for OEC lessons is life and earth science. And this is just kind of informational for you in case you're wondering, what do they do? That's just a really brief list of what do the grade levels do. We're always updating and improving our lessons. I've been fortunate to be involved in some great outdoor education and environmental education PD in the last couple of years. And so I've been able to take those Battle Creek Science Kit lessons and kind of up them to the next level and really use our facility better than we were in the past. So I'm very excited. If you can't tell. I love what I do. I think the kids really enjoy being there. So take a look at a day or a few at the Outdoor Education Center. So I thank you for letting me have this time to kind of showcase one of our programs. I would like to extend an invitation. Please come visit. We love visitors. Come see what we're up to. And again, thanks so much for your time this evening. Appreciate your support, as the groundhog said.
Kelly,
Yeah.
did we not also, through the Schools Foundation, do trail cams out there?
We did. That was how we got the groundhog. Actually, the School Foundation has been very generous.
I was expecting we might see more pictures, but
Yeah.
the object is to try to catch
Yes.
wildlife when they're not out there.
Right, right,
I thought
yeah.
that was it. Is it still working well?
Yep, it is. It is. I haven't gotten a lot. I've got several shots of the groundhog and some of deer, and so far that's what I have. Maybe a cat. We weren't sure what the animal was.
As long as it's not a bear, we don't need to.
Kids would love it if it was. So yeah, yeah. Is there any other questions or wonderings?
Are you gonna do any classes, like for the middle school and high school? I know they've got a really cool environmental biology class at the high school. Is there plans to expand?
I have a lot of dreams about what could be done out there. I do, and I.
Eighth grader that missed her fifth grade field trips to the OVC, so she would like to know what they're like.
Well, actually, Allison and I should probably get together. Previous to COVID, Matt and I were talking about what could we do out there for middle school. It's tricky because the schedule is so different, and in elementary school, it makes it a lot easier to do the visit. So I'm not sure, and my time is sort of full with elementary. So then, what does that look like? But yeah, it's a neat facility. There were some camps out there this summer. The community ed program did art camps out there, and those were very loved and popular. And so, what else could we do? Let's use it well. Yeah.
I don't know whether everybody, particularly our viewers at home, know where the OAC came from. That used to be the Chain of Lakes one-room schoolhouse, and it was set on fire by arsonists and burned to the ground, unfortunately. And so we took the insurance proceeds and a grant from Kellogg Foundation and 3 of our portable classrooms we had during the 90 and 91 construction process and put that all together. And I'm so proud of it, but sometimes people don't even realize it was the site of one of the old one-room schoolhouses. But I thought it was a great use that we did that. And I happened to run into Kelly right when I first heard she was going to go out to the OEC, and she was exuberant with the prospect of doing that. And I was so happy to hear that because we've got a real gift there, and we need to use it. And I think we need to talk to the Kellogg Foundation, see if they might want to invest some more money in it. So, because we certainly have met their goals.
I think the wood structure in the front of it is supposed to represent the old schoolhouse.
It
that
is.
burned down.
Yes, there's a plaque there. It says it was donated by the Simpson Paper Company in honor of the one-room schoolhouse that was there.
We are so lucky to have that, that somebody had the foresight of doing something useful with that piece of property, because there's a lot going on.
Yes.
Thank you.
I was wondering, when you have the younger L kids out there, how long are they out there?
Well, they're there for the full day that the older kids are there for. Yes. We bring the youngest ones out in the spring, so they've had a whole year of being in school, figuring out what that's like. This year we did BK for a full day for the first time. And one of the teachers said, that was great. And the other one said, maybe half day next year. So it just depends, on the classroom and what's best for that group. I think we can make that work. But yeah, I had so much planned for them. We didn't even get it done because I knew I needed to keep them hopping. I've taught BK. I've taught almost all of the grade levels. Oh. So that has worked really well with me being able to teach all the grade levels here because I have the experience from BK up to 5th grade. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
One of the things I think we have focused over the years so much on are standards that we have to meet and test at. And one of the things I think we lose sight of is culturally, there's been a lot written about kids not being connected to nature and what they've lost. And I think anything that we can do on many levels, in terms of emotional health, being by a stream, there's something good about that. And I think the more that we can use it, I actually am a little disappointed that the kids only get out there twice a year. you know? Because I think there's a lot to be learned, and I think you can still meet those standards. I know principals are wincing as I say this, but I think that there is so much to be gained. I remember when I took one of my kids that I had in Kids Hope, and I took him canoeing up Sunset Lake, and he couldn't believe how it sounded, the buzzing of the cicadas. He'd never heard it before.
Yes.
You know, and it was just, I think those kinds of experiences are way more important than we give them credit for. So I think anything we can do to get kids away from this and out there is a good thing.
Gets everybody interested.
Well, my little granddaughters think one day's not enough.
Well, again, I have so many dreams for being out there, so.
I
Yeah.
should have asked him, did Kelly put you up to that?
Okay, 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 okay. I'm on his page. I think getting them out there more. And I don't know what it could look like, but there are 2 classrooms there, so, you know, there's lots of things. Yeah, so, yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Gil. And now we'll go to our athletic department annual report. Mike?
By the microphone.
Stand wherever you want, as long as you have the mic.
You look like that guy that was trying to open that water bottle at that baseball game, Mike. You know?
Yeah. We'll go with it from here. Thank you. Again, one of the highlights of my years, is get to be able to sit here in front of the school board and be able to present. So I will let you know, this is the first time in 21 years I've had to use cheaters to read my report, so my eyes are getting bad.
Some of us aren't feeling sorry for you.
Right. So again, this is a time capsule of last year and our athletics from last year. So first of all, I apologize to Joe. Joe, you'll be here next year since you weren't around last year, but we're looking forward to adding you for next year. So first of all, I'd like to thank my coaches. They spend an enormous amount of time with our student athletes, making sacrifices from their own families and children to put Vicksburg student athletes first. Another one goes out to Natalie McClish. She's our new athletic trainer that we have this year, and she came to us on the new partnership with Bronson Sports Med. As some of you may recall, we used to get them every 2 years, and we had our student trainers come from the Western Bronson partnership, and that's no longer with new state requirements and stuff, licensures, is allowed to happen. So we work directly with Bronson, and the neat part is now as Natalie's with us for as long as we want to keep Natalie, and as long as Natalie wants to be here. In the past, they rotated every 2 years. So I always felt like year 1 was their learning curve, year 2 they nailed it, year 3 they were gone, and we had a new one. So those are going to be some great benefits with that. Natalie's done a great job. She works well and meshes very well with the coaching staff and has great communication and relationships with parents. And our student athletes understand when they go see Natalie that she's there to mend them and get them back on the field and court so they can play again. And she got a nice sign in the athletic training room that says, "Where Bulldogs come to mend their paws." So Natalie, again, she's been a great blessing. One of the ladies I'm going to talk about, and I brag about her every year, is Miss Rhonda Vanderkamp. She's been in the athletic department for 21 years. Rhonda let us know at the beginning of this year that she would be retiring at the end of the year. So I always say she's the real MVP of the athletic department. Rhonda's dynamite, and basically she's the right arm. And I always tell Rhonda she's the one who makes that office go. So she's going to be greatly missed, and we'll have to find someone to fill those big shoes.
Well,
But
if you
again,
get us some sports garb, we'll just want to prove her retirement.
there you go. Well, every time something happens, we keep asking her to stay. So, but she has some future plans, and she's finally eligible to go, and she's looking forward to spending some time with her family and stuff like that. So, I can't fault her for that. But just 21-year amazing working relationship, and the coaches are comfortable with Rhonda because they know if they need something, they can go to Rhonda, and she's a solid rock in that department. So, again, lots of kudos to Rhonda. Again, a lot of people in this room that I get to work with, our transportation department, our maintenance department, our grounds, Very blessed to have Larry Preston on the staff. I don't know if some of you know Larry, have had an opportunity to meet Larry, but if not, and you've driven around our facilities, you've seen Larry's work. Larry's taking care of the baseball field, the softball field, the football practice field, the soccer field, and basically all of our grass athletic fields. And I can't tell you how many compliments I've gotten from people just driving by going, oh my gosh, your facilities just look amazing, you know. And so Larry is our grass grower, and he does a great job of manicuring those fields and stuff for us, and we're blessed to have him on staff. Our custodial staff does a great job. You know, again, Darla, she has those facilities looking clean inside and out, and so we're really blessed to have Darla on there. Again, Jess came to us last year, and Jess was a blessing in disguise to have for our PR department. She's really picked up our online presence with our Twitter feeds and our Facebooks and stuff like that, so we're blessed to have Jess and be able to work with her. Again, the Board of Education, appreciate every single one of you and all that you allow me to do and do my job. The financial secretary, Denise Berry at the high school, our transportation director, Karen McKinstreet, our food service director, Sarah Hogue, maintenance and custodial, Nancy Spickets, community ed, Beth O'Rourke and Alyssa, my two guys I work with every day, Adam and Matt. Our middle school people just have running a dynamite middle school athletic program and a feeder system for us. And we welcomed Allison last year, and we also, Dennis, who's no longer with us, but we've got Joe coming in, so he'll help out there. And then Steve and Kevin, again, your continued support whenever I need anything. You guys are only a phone call away, or they say, hey, come on over, the door's always open. So you couldn't ask for two greater bosses to help accomplish all this great stuff you're going to hear about. So thank you, each and every one of you, for that. So this year, again, continue to put myself out there and help with MHSA committee so Vicksburg has a voice at the state level. And this past year, served on the classification committee, the tennis committee, soccer officials committee, wrestling officials assignment committee, the football playoffs officials assignment committee, and then also the officials review committee. Vicksburg High School took a lead and hosted MHSA tournaments, boys district soccer, girls regional volleyball, boys and girls individual bowling, boys and girls regional team bowling. Wolverine Conference, we hosted the boys JV tennis, we hosted wrestling, middle school wrestling, and then also the JV girls tennis tournament. And we continue to host the girls Crater Kalamazoo golf tournament. Last year, Samantha Richardson, as many of you may recall, was Female Athlete of the Year, and Evan Anderson was our Male Athlete of the Year. We continue to have a great relationship with our athletic boosters. Our athletic boosters continue to give out 8 scholarships every year, 2 $1,000 scholarships and 6 $500 scholarships, 4 to male athletes, 4 to female athletes. I would also like to point out, very proud, and we have a good history of scholarship winners for the Jack Moss Scholarship. Jack used to write for the Kalamazoo Gazette, and they do a scholarship in his honor every year for a student that's going to either go to Valley, K, or Western. And so we had Maya Peters win that, and I think over the last 7 or 8 years, we've had 6 student athletes from Vicksburg win that award. So that's a great tradition that we like to keep going. Our fall, again, football team was academic honorable mention All-State. The volleyball team was team academic All-State. Our girls equestrian team, district regional, and again, state champions. So that was a great accomplishment last year. We were very proud of those young ladies, again, for bringing home another state title. In the winter, we had girls basketball was a team academic All-State. And then in the spring, Brian Deal, our baseball coach, was a Wolverine Conference Coach of the Year. He was also awarded his district Coach of the Year. The softball team, team academic All-State. And Paul Gephardt, our softball coach, was district Coach of the Year. And again, girls track voted team academic All-State. Our girls track team set 3 school records last year. The 4x1, the 4x2, and the 4x4 relay teams all broke and set new school records last year. And some of the numbers that I'm most proud of here, we had over 40 student athletes earn some type of academic All-State honors. And so again, in the athletic department, we preach all the time, full-time student, part-time athlete, that's what we mean. And we continue to preach academics first. And some of these numbers are gonna tell you what research has found for us. So with our senior class last year, we had 45 seniors that played at least one sport. That's a big number. 27 of them played 2 sports, and we had 8 that played 3 sports as a senior. And that's not large number, or those aren't numbers that you see quite that often anymore. It's not like it used to be. So here's one that I'm really excited about. Number of student athletes playing high school sports. Last year we had 370 kids in the high school play at least one sport, okay? And that is 48% of our student body. Now you think about that participation number-wise, and then you start throwing in like our drama and our Big Red Machine and those clubs that are involved in that, and that's a large number for our total student population in the high school. So again, 48%. Number of 2-sport athletes last year were 168. Number of 3-sport athletes last year was 53. And here we go. Our seniors that graduated last year that were athletes, their GPA was 3.394. Again, 3.394 compared to the senior class as a whole, which was 3.216. Both impressive numbers, but again, those who are involved in athletics and the other stuff is great, continue to have a higher grade point average. So our grade point average overall last year for the whole athletic population, all 370 of them, was 3.322. 3.322. So out of the graduating class last year of all those seniors, we have 20 of them that are going to go on and compete at the collegiate level. So 20 of those kids are representing Vicksburg and the things that they've learned at the next level. And one of the fun things for me are, just like at Northern this year, when we played football over there, a bunch of the seniors came back and stuff. And I always like to ask them the question is, you know, guys are at Michigan, guys are at K, you know, some really nice schools, and ask them, how did Vicksburg prepare you for the next level? And they always say that we do a great job in the classroom. They always feel that they're prepared to tackle classes at Michigan, to tackle classes at K. They never feel that our teachers and our staff, that they're underprepared. They thank their coaches for the discipline and that, but again, what we're teaching in the classroom, that full-time student to the part-time athlete is a huge success. If we look at this year, we've had some upgrades. We've done a lot of great things. Our facilities, we put the new logo in July. Just so many compliments with that. It looked great. It came last year in November. We didn't want to rush to put it in because we were worried about the elements and we didn't want to have issues down the road. So we thought it'd be best to hold off till our dead period in the summer. So we put that in July. And again, that 50-foot bulldog head looks great. If you see it from the ground, it's impressive. But if you get a chance to get up in the press box, or if you've seen some of the drone shots of it, it looks great. Again, I mentioned Larry earlier, but our grass facilities and stuff around look just outstanding. And at the football stadium, and then also inside this year, we've upgraded the PA systems. And so now when you win the 50-50, you can actually hear the numbers. or when someone up here wins the beef raffle, because it seems to be someone up here every year, you'll be able to hear your name called. So, but again, it sounds great right now. Because of back order issues and stuff like that, we're still two speakers shy for the stadium, so it's going to sound that much more enhanced once we get those last 2 speakers. And the other thing is like everything trickles down from the NFL to college, now in high school, they want, like in football, the officials to start wearing the headphone set. So we have one of those that are on order also. So now all of a sudden when your son gets a holding call, they'll be able to tell it over the PA system. It was number 56, so they'll know exactly who it is. Because right now the parents are like, oh my gosh, it's my son, but now they're going to announce it to everybody. So they'll all know who it was. So again, that's my report for this year. Again, it's a lot of thank yous because again, as you can see, I'm one that gets to work with every single person in this room on some level for athletic events, and just appreciative for my administrative team and all the support that they give me. And again, this group right here up in front of me. So thank you very much.
I just want to make one comment. It doesn't seem like it's been that long since you've joined us. But I remember that year you joined us, and we had some great athletic directors before Mike. But I'm going to tell you, this guy hit the ground running like we had never seen before, and I don't think you slowed down a bit. And kudos to you for running that program, keeping it going, and being there. And I don't know when you sleep, because I see it everything. But I also think our kids learn a lot in our athletics. They learn about winning and losing, rules, following the guidelines, those things. Occasionally, a kid doesn't meet eligibility, so he learns that lesson too. And I think you ought to be real proud of the athletic department. We are.
Thank you, Skip, and we are also. And again, we continue to preach that it's the whole student, and a lot of times I take a little criticism. Sometimes it's all I care about is sportsmanship, but I said that's not really the case because we wouldn't spend tens of thousands of dollars on scoreboards if that wasn't the case. But, we're more interested in high school kids becoming better citizens, better students, better contributors to society. And that's our ultimate goal, because in college, they can draft the kids they want, and the pros, in college, they can recruit the kids they want, and in the pros, they draft who they want, and our hands are dealt for us. So again, just putting that student first, and then the athletic piece second. We want to teach more than just X's and O's. So thank you for that. Carol?
I just wanted to thank you as well. As you have basically told us, the entire community is involved in the athletics, whether they're in boosters or not. The parents put in a lot of time, and I'm so proud of how Vicksburg looks on the field, no matter what they're doing. And that is obviously a tribute to your leadership. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I've had 3 principals that I've worked with, and all of them have done a good job of laying the foundation and stuff. But I just tell you, the high school right now is an amazing place to be. The culture that Adam has built with our staff and everybody else, it is a great place to be. So,
Keep up the good work.
thank you.
And it doesn't appear that we've got anybody that wishes to address the board on a non-agenda item, so we'll go on to board action required. First item we have before us is approval of the August 8th, 2022 board meeting minutes.
So move.
Moved by Carol,
Support.
supported by Tina. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, approval of general fund invoices totaling $496,984.79.
Move approval.
Moved by Dave,
Support.
supported by Carol. Discussion? Stephanie?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Tina?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And yes, motion carries. Approval of purchase cards disbursements for July 2022 totaling $98,469.06.
Move approval.
Moved by Tina,
Support.
supported by Jennifer. Discussion? Stephanie?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Tina?
Yes.
Carol? And yes, motion carries. Approval of following teacher contracts upon results of state and federal records and unprofessional conduct checks, and we'll take teachers 1 through 9. And I just want to make a comment that reading through the background on those teachers and everything else, what a great crop of teachers we had. The experience is unbelievable. And you're all to be commended for doing a great job in tough times for hiring. So I really thought it was a good group.
There's some very interesting backgrounds.
There were.
And I think sometimes it's really good to have people come in from the outside, because they have different ideas and different experiences. But these were pretty interesting.
They were. Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Tina,
Supported.
supported by Dan. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And item E, approval of following teacher resignations effective immediately. And we'll take teachers 1 through 3.
So move.
Moved by Carol,
Support.
supported by Tina. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And on that, we'll stand adjourned.
I think so.